There, what if I told you that freedom from chronic pain, relationship conflicts, and even depression and anxiety is closer than you think, that it's actually been within reach all along, except it's just been hidden in plain sight? My name is Beatty Carmichael, and I come from a line of 7 generations of medical doctors, people focused on setting people free through healing and restoration. And though I never became a doctor myself, what I learned is about 8 years ago that I actually carry the same mantle of setting people free. It was about that time that God started sending me on a journey to understand spiritual laws that govern many of life's most challenging problems. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to what these people have to share.
I was been addicted to drugs for over 20 years. Lost my job. Everything just seemed to get worse and worse, going along. Been in jail because of my addiction. After I did the Prayer of Freedom, I had, my addiction level went from a 10 to a 0. My pain in my feet went from a 10 to a 0. I had vision problems and I went from a 10 to a 0. Everything that was ailing me has completely gone away. Now I can walk, I can sleep at night, I can see, and I'm no longer addicted to drugs. And I can say I'm free from every bit of it. And I recommend it to anybody.
I used to play college football many years ago, and I hurt my hip when I was playing football, and they told me eventually I would need to have a hip replacement. It was probably close to 30 years ago, and I called a friend of mine. We got talking about my hip, and I shared with them the pain that I had. At that point, I was literally using a crutch every single day, even around my house. And then he asked how the pain in my hip was, and I said, it's probably an 8 or a 9 right now. And he led me in what I've now learned is the Prayer of Freedom. He said, now stand up and tell me, what your pain level is. And I stood up. I stood up and I had no pain. I literally couldn't even answer him because I was crying. It was the first time in years that I hadn't had any pain. And I literally had 0 pain. I started walking around my house without my crutch, and I just had no pain. It was just life-changing for me.
Those results are why I wrote the book, The Prayer of Freedom. And The Prayer of Freedom isn't just a normal book or novel. It's actually a roadmap, a simple, step-by-step process to help you learn and apply these spiritual truths into your own life so you can receive breakthrough from chronic pain, anxiety, depression, or anything else. Check out theprayeroffreedombook.com.